Yo, our boy Mike. We started the pod just like this.
Kicks in all 3 rounds with great success. Was that something you and your team were working on going into this fight camp? Was that something you've seen in the training?
Certainly, but just in general, I definitely use my kicks as a weapon ever since I was a kid. Through my Muay Thai roots, with that one kicks, shout out one kick, and just try to keep that definitely a big part of my game, and working in other areas, and trying to just evolve as a all-around MMA fighter.
You have been successful in this A1 combat cage. What can the fans expect to see next out of Mr. Butner?
I just want a real active year. I want to keep the ball rolling. These long layoffs suck, and it's just not good for a fighter. So just get in here soon, and just ride the momentum and live the dream.
I think everybody in attendance here can attest that you had a very, very successful night here out at Tachi. John Butner, everybody.
He got left hanging, bro.
You left him hanging?
He left him hanging.
Damn, how are you gonna do that to our boy?
Yo, okay, so check this out. Yo, what's going on, guys? It's the pod. It's Fight Fan Culture Pod. We just jumping straight into it because we're gonna do something different. I'm here with my co-host for the day. We got Adam ARABY in the building. How you doing today, Adam?
I'm feeling good, man. Feeling good. I was a little bit sick last week. That's why there's been a little bit of a delay on the day in the fight life, but we feeling back. We feeling good, and we ready to go.
Yo, man, it's a special pod, bro, because we have one of the Fight Fan Culture members is making his debut as the post-fight interviewer in the cage at A1 Combat that's happening right now. So when you see this podcast, it just had happened. We're actually watching the fight live right now, and man, we just saw him at work, bro, with the fresh cut and everything. What do you think of him doing his thing?
Man, I got to give my flowers to MLH Media, man. Mr. Michael Luis Hernandez, man. He out there looking fresh, asking the right questions, out there locked in, man. Got to give it up for the guy. One of the hardest working men in combat sports.
I consider myself a hard worker, bro. I'm not going to lie. I feel like I work super, super hard at everything I do. And there's not too many people that I feel work harder than me. Michael MLH Media is the only guy that I can honestly say without a shadow of a doubt, he's like the hardest working dude I've ever met. Like, he works harder than me. And I'm like, bro, what? So, man, all the flowers, well deserved. I'm super excited. And that's what we're here. We're gonna do the pod, and we're gonna watch our boy Michael. The next fight coming up, Adam, I don't know if you saw the last pod that we posted, but we got Blake DeCourcy making his pro debut, and he's facing somebody who he's already fought and has a win over. Did you see the pod? What do you know about Blake DeCourcy? What do you know about his opponent?
I know a little bit about Blake. I actually got to train with him some years ago at an open mat when he was still a teenager. And man, I was highly impressed. Highly, highly impressed. I was like, this kid is going places. And now to see him as a grown adult, being able to make his pro debut at, I believe, 20 years old, correct?
Correct, 20 years old.
And man, like, it's something to behold. And especially, too, for his weight class, man. He's not a small guy. That kid is not small. He's tall, long, rangy. He's got good power, great grappling. And I think he's just going to showcase them skills and why he went undefeated in his amateur career.
Yeah, 7-0 as an amateur, 4-0 in kickboxing. Man, he has like the world at his fingertips. And it's interesting because his opponent, Martin Sandoval, who he's fought in the past, and that was a really, really good fight. This happened almost about 2 years ago in 2022 for 559 fights. And it was a great back and forth battle. I noticed Martin in that last fight. I don't know if you saw the fight online, but he's very grappling heavy. Has a wrestling background, and he's always trying to get the fight to the mat. But Blake, man, very tall, very rangy, similar build to you, and he likes to piece people up on the standing and banging, man. So I mean, what are you expecting to see today?
I'm expecting to see personally a stand-up battle, man. I think we're really going to see Blake showcase his striking. Um, I didn't know too much about his opponent, but he did defeat him in the past, and I do think, it's tough. He's got that confidence. He's a young kid, man. He's already defeated this guy, and he's comfortable in there. The guy's a performer through and through. As we heard in the pod, he's got many different hobbies. He's a skater. He's a musician. He's done some plays. Like, the kid deals with pressure great. And going in there, you have an opponent you've already fought before and you can beat. At that point, it's just sticking to the game plan, remaining calm, and just executing.
Yeah, man. So, and that's big, bro. The fact that they already fought before, obviously it was almost 2 years ago. So, and they're both really, really young. So their game has evolved. But I would say that does bring a lot of confidence going into this fight. I know if I had beat an opponent and I'm gonna fight him again, like I have that win over you. So of course there's gonna be a mental edge. Before the fight starts, I actually want to kind of bring it back. This past weekend was UFC 298. Me and some of the fellas, we got to go to the UFC Fight Fan Experience, and man, it was great. I know you were sick. Unfortunately, you weren't able to come with us. But by any chance, did you catch any of the fights at the house?
Of course, man, I watched the whole card. Man. I was cooped up sick in my bed, but at least I had a good working internet connection, man.
Exactly.
I got to give it up to Ilia Topuria, man. I'm gonna be out here and embracing my half Spanish roots and say, let's go for España, brother. Man, I've been big on Ilia since he came into the UFC. I knew how great of a prospect he was. And when he came in, I was telling people, watch this guy. He could be the next big thing. I was really hot on him, and Charles Jourdain were the two specific guys that I thought were going to be really, really good. And obviously, Charles Jourdain, still a great fighter, still a contender, has his ups and downs. But Ilia, man, what a tear. What a run, man. Not only are you knocking out top competition left and right, you're finishing guys in brutal fashion. We all have seen the Jai Herbert knockout. Yep. And that was up at lightweight after he got dropped in the first round.
Yeah.
Now to see him, what he could do, especially to a guy like Volkanovski. I think Ilia and Phil Rowe really put this really well when he was breaking down that fight. He has some of the best boxing, I think, within the UFC. He stays tight to his guard, and he's not afraid to throw himself in the fire to get himself open to those shots. You can see in the finishing sequence when he was going after Volk, he does something that not a lot of people can see unless you slow the fight down, which was he cuts the cage off and repositions himself right there. You'll see a lot of guys, they'll hit, hurt a guy, but they move forward linear. Not Ilia. When he has you hurt, he knows how to readjust and still keep his shoulders and his hips right in front of you the entire time to be able to set up those big shots like that overhand kind of right hook knockout he was able to get on Volk. And so it was textbook, boxing fundamentals within MMA, man.
Yeah, man. That fight, just the lead up to that fight was freaking crazy. I mean, the fact that you got Volk coming off of what seemed like invincibility, right? He had just came off of the knockout at lightweight to the current champ, and you had all this hype going in before that, and then we had question marks. We're like, well, what is he going to look like after the knockout? Then you had Topuria on social media saying, yo, I'm about to knock this guy out first round. He was 14-0 on Instagram before the fight even started. He put 15-0 featherweight champion. Like, dude was over here talking about stuff that hadn't even happened, doing his own variation of Mystic Mac. Man, it was crazy, but you got to give the guy credit. He pulled it off. And I don't know if you heard the statistic, but two statistics I'm going to bring up. The first one being Ilia Topuria in 24 hours gained 600,000 Instagram followers. That's crazy, bro. That just tells you how impactful that fight was and how many people saw it and just like jumped on the bandwagon. Second statistic, no champion above 170 pounds, with the exception of Tyron Woodley, has has won or defended their title under 35 years old. Tyron Woodley is the only one to defend his bout after being 35 or older. Every other champion has lost to a younger guy. So, man, that is crazy. So, I don't know if you want to call it the 35-year-old curse or whatever you want to call it, but yeah, man, it was Ilia's the real deal, bro. And to your point, the way he shifts, he uses his angles. Another thing that a lot of people didn't notice, and I had to watch the fight back to really notice, but the way that he feints, it's not just like with his punches and his shoulders, but he level changes when he's feinting. And there was a lot of time where you saw Volk try to push down, or he was reacting to all of the feints in a certain way that gave Ilia the talents to know, okay, when I do this, he's going to do this, and it's going to open up a certain shot. And yeah, you can tell the whole fight, Topuria was just getting closer and closer and closer and closer. And second round, got him up against the cage, and that was all she wrote.
Yeah, and to your point, man, like, I think the real power, at least to Ilia Topuria, especially in that fight, is normally we see Volk, who's very, very defensively sound, very sound, really, really great fundamentals, able to go to all those fundamentals and level changes and just really, work and outgrind his opponent. Ilia got him off his base, which is what set up the knockout. I remember during the commentary, they made a specific moment where every time Volk would pull back, his chin was wide open in the air. Yeah. Which is something he does not normally do. Volk, he stays in there. He's a short, stockier guy. He's built like a tank, man. He stays like down here and able to stay there. But as he kept getting back, he kept opening himself up until there was nowhere left to go, and Ilia was able to capitalize, man. Yep. Like I said, Ilia will put himself in the fire, maybe eat 1-2 shots to deliver, though, them crackers, man, them absolute bombs of right hands and hooks, bro. And like we saw, he was able to completely take Volk out of his element.
Yeah, man, it was a great performance by Topuria. I mean, Volk had his moments. I could definitely tell his game plan was to be more kick heavy. Obviously, he threw the most kicks I've seen him throw in forever. Ilia has been known to be susceptible to kicks, so that was a good game plan. But to your point, man, you have to be defensively sound, and pulling back, having a cross block like this, that's not enough. You got to be having a lot of head movement. And yeah, it's interesting to see who's going to be the next opponent for Topuria. I mean, we have, obviously, the fight this weekend's going to be Brian Ortega, Yair Rodriguez. Potentially the winner of that could fight Ilia for the strap. I would love to see him fight Max Holloway, but unfortunately, Max Holloway is fighting for the BMF title on UFC 300. So I guess my question is, Adam, who do you think? Two questions. Who do you think Ilia's next opponent's going to be? Question number one. Question number two, out of everybody in the featherweight division, who do you think gives him the most problems?
Ooh, fun question. I think definitely you could make the argument for either Yair or Brian. There is a big question mark, obviously. That is technically a rematch. We have Brian Ortega coming off a shoulder dislocation surgery. And I don't know if you know this, Brian's not young. He's on the north side of 30, I believe. And but Yair could easily come back. He did have his title shot that was an okay performance. I don't think that's the best we've seen Yair, obviously. But I think that would be a really fun fight if they did give Yair the title shot. I really, really do. But like I said, it's going to come down to who's able to win this one. I think that's going to be the guy who's next in line. But there's still some life in that featherweight division. But in terms of who gives him the most problems, I still like Charles Jourdain, man. I still, I'm still hot on the guy, and I still think he's a little bit of a dark horse. There's definitely some dudes that can definitely give him some issues there. Specifically guys who are going to have that strong boxing and that strong kind of boxing base. But if it's not going to be Yair, potentially it could be Charles Jourdain, or even potentially, I know he beat him already, but if he comes back even better than ever, either a Josh Emmett or even a Bryce Mitchell.
Man, Josh Emmett is up there, definitely on the north side of 30 for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Bryce Mitchell, I'm looking at the rankings right now. Let me pull them up for you. So we have obviously Ilia Topuria as the number one as a champion. We got Volkanovski, Holloway, Yair, Brian Ortega. We got Mozar Evlovich, which I believe, honestly, I think he lost his last fight, but he's still up there. Arnold Allen. I don't see your boy in the top 15 though.
No, you're not seeing him there yet. Let's bring him up here. Let me bring these up. I mean, I like Mobzar. He showed a lot of strength, especially in his last fight. I like the level changes. Great example of that kind of one hand on the ground touch and rule, though. Man, that muddies the water a little bit. I was really hot on Arnold Allen until that performance, unfortunately, where it was just interesting, man. You see Arnold kind of do this like weird kind of like hang low, my right hand's down, like we're fighting here like in a wrestling stance, basically, ready to stuff some takedowns, but it just wasn't the same Arnold Allen. Like I said, I almost forgot actually about our guy though, Calvin Kattar. Man, Calvin Kattar is no slouch in that division as well, man. That guy is just, New England tough. There's a guy that I would describe as Boston tough. You got to give it up to Calvin Kattar, man. But any of these guys, I think, would be a fun fight against Ilia. But if I'm looking truly at the rankings of the most likelihood of matchups, it's going to be Yair.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. I gotta agree. I think Yair, if he could get past Brian Ortega, has a decent performance, which I think Yair is a favorite right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think Yair gives Topuria the best fight. I think they match up fairly well. They're both very good strikers. Obviously, Topuria is more of a boxing striker, but Yair with his dynamic and creativity can cause maybe some problems. And Yair has improved on his ground game, and he's not afraid to be in the fire. That's what he's shown in the past. So I think that'd probably be the matchup that is the most competitive. Another person who I also forgot because he's not in the rankings, but has a fight coming up is Aljamain Sterling, man.
Mm-hmm.
Aljamain Sterling's about to fight Calvin Kattar, and if he puts a dominant performance, I mean, how do you not put him in the top 5, bro? He lost to obviously the 135-pound champ in Sugar Sean, but I mean, if he gets past Calvin Kattar, you got to put him in the top 5, and then that makes things really fun because then we can match Sterling up with the damn near anyone.
And honestly, if I had to give it of a guy who will have at least a ground game to be able to match Elias, man, as much as he has fantastic boxing and great power, we all love those highlights. You got to give it up as well to the ground game of Ilia, man. He's super dangerous there. Super strong guard, super strong top game, really, really powerful ground and pound. But we all know what it's like when you get on the ground with a shark like Aljamain Sterling, man. He's, All-American wrestler, choked out Corey Sandhagen, took down Henry Cejudo, choked out, Peter, or no, not choked him out, but did take him down and rode his back for I don't know how many rounds, and Peter Yan. And
Mhm.
he did that while being drained, man. Like, if you go back and hear Aljamain talk about his weight cut protocol and how much he really was cutting, you know, he was really almost killing his body to get down there, man. And he's a guy who's had a lot of injuries, so I'm really excited to see him make his featherweight debut. I think it just adds to his durability. And as well, man, he's been in there. He's been in those championship level performances and fought some of the best competition and at the bantamweight rankings.
Yeah, I mean you're not wrong, man. So, like I said, we just got to see what happens. We have a lot of potential fun matchups in the featherweight division, so I'm excited, bro. But moving on, one thing that I do want to bring up is definitely 299. So I'm gonna bring up the card and let's talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people are saying that this card is actually better than UFC 300. This is the real UFC 300 card. I don't know if I would say that myself, but it's definitely a freaking banger of a card. So obviously, straight off the top, we got Sean O'Malley, Marlon Cheeto Vera.
Mm-hmm.
Cheeto is the underdog, but he has a win over O'Malley, even though Mr. O'Malley says he's undefeated. There is still a loss on his record. So, Adam, where are you leaning? You leaning to the Sugar Show, or you think Cheeto's just gonna repeat what he did before?
Man, I've been jumping back and forth on this one. I think it's going to be a much closer fight this time. I really, really do. And I think this potentially might be like one of the tougher, if not toughest fights of Sean O'Malley's career.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, he's also improved a hell of a lot since then, man. And call it a fluke, call it whatever you want. I say it's a legitimate win. You got injured from a leg kick. You got kicked in the area and then got injured. It's getting finished, in my opinion.
I mean,
Last I checked, I don't know. I've never seen a guy get head kicked and been like, man, that was a fluke. I just got injured. My neck, it just, it went out on me. Like,
it wasn't like a Chris Weidman, Conor McGregor type of injury. You know what I mean?
Your foot gave out and then you got ground and pounded. Like, it happens, man. Like, it's okay. But mentally undefeated regardless. And I don't know. It's tough, man. Like, I jump back and forth on this one, but my heart is going to tell me I think Sean might edge him out just a little bit. I got this gut feeling saying it's going to be a little bit of an edge out, but who knows? I think this is just going to be a really, really close fight that I actually don't see either guy getting finished. I think it's going to go all 5 rounds, and whoever has the gas tank to just keep it going and keep on the pace and score the cleaner shots is going to be the winner.
I feel that. I mean, for me, I'm on the same boat in the sense of like I'm pretty much on the fence right now. I'm gonna be quite honest with you. Reason being is because I feel like I'll be able to make a decision once I see them walk out.
Yeah.
Because that's gonna tell me a lot personally. When it came to the 298 fight, as soon as I seen Volk walk out and I seen Topuria walk out, I already knew. You can ask Jason Granado. You can ask MLH Medium. I literally texted them because they were at the actual event, and I said, "Oh, Ilia, second round knockout." Because the way that they were walking out, you can tell so much about their energy. So when it comes to Sean, 2 things are going to happen. He's either going to be so confident now that he has the belt and he's the actual champion that it's just going to bring him to another level, or he's going to be remembering what happened the last time he was in the cage with Cheeto, and that can maybe mess with his mentality, his psyche a little bit. And as far as Cheeto goes, the reality is Cheeto hasn't been looking that great these past couple fights. So same thing with Cheeto. If Cheeto comes out and you can just see the confidence on him because he's like, man, I've already beat this little kid. Like,
Yeah.
This ain't nothing. Like I'm just replay this. Then I think he's gonna have a really really good shot. And the same thing. If he's coming in there, and he just looks like he's too relaxed and not taking it serious. I don't know, man. Then I'm gonna have to lean towards Sean. So right now, I'm on the fence. I can't unfortunately pick quite yet, but I really do hope that it's gonna be just a crazy war. I'd much rather it be a war than a quick finish. And I think these guys both want that too. They want a war. I think both of them want that.
Yeah, and as long as Sean does not overlook Cheeto, because I do feel like he's overlooking him a little bit, especially with the comment he came out, like kind of calling out Aaliyah a little bit and saying he's going after him next and things like that. Like, don't overlook Cheeto, man. Cheeto, very, very dangerous fighter. But like we said, when the pressure gets to Cheeto, he's just not the same guy. But when he's on, man, world beater, absolute world beater. So I don't know what kind of, it's going to come down, like you said, whatever Cheeto we get that night is going to dictate the fight. If it's confident, like world beating Cheeto, like we've seen before in those fantastic, like fight of the night, type performances, it's his belt all day. If it's the same Cheeto we saw come out against Corey Sandhagen, where it's a little bit tentative and not quite the same guy, you got to give it O'Malley. So it just really comes down to what kind of fighter are we getting the night of performance.
100%, bro. And the one thing that Sean can't overlook as well, you got Merab that just beat Henry Cejudo, and he's waiting in the wing, bro. And he took your Thriller jacket and everything. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
You can't be talking about Topuria when you got Merab right there, ready to throw down with the winner. So,
Yeah, man.
anyways, moving on to the next fight, bro. I'm excited for this. Dustin Poirier versus Benoit Saint Denis. Like, I don't know too much about Saint Denis. I'm gonna be quite honest with you. I just started seeing his fights recently. Obviously, Dustin Poirier is a legend, bro. He's been in the game for a decade. What do you feel about that fight? Are you leaning towards one way or the other?
Yeah, I am. I am. And I say that as a big Dustin Poirier fan, man. I've been a fan of the Diamond for a while, man. I love absolutely what he does for the children, his community. I think he's a human being that I like at least to look up to. Like, if there's a man I want to model myself after or would show children of, like, this is a guy you should be like, it'd be Dustin Poirier, man. A guy who works hard, provides for his family, gives back, and fights, like a down ass dude, man. Like a down ass dude. And honestly, like I said, one of the best boxers in the UFC, man. Is one of the better southpaw fighters in the UFC. But yeah, we just haven't seen the same Dustin. Even when in that win against Michael Chandler, it just hasn't been quite the same, man. Like we said, that 35-year-old curse, like, you see guys like, and he's been in wars. Dustin has not been in easy fights, man. And that accumulates over time. I even think I don't think it's a full hip replacement, but he's had a few different hip surgeries. And so he's definitely felt the wear and tear. And so it just hasn't been, I'd say, quite the same. And Benoit Saint Denis, man, what a savage. This guy's former French special forces. I love the Joe Rogan quote of, like, this guy's probably killed people with rocks before. Which is probably true, man. He's got that mentality. It's just different when you've gone in and you've been active duty and you've been in the line of fire. When you walk into a cage, it's a different kind of pressure, man. Those guys, they're just cool, calm, collected. They're like, oh, nobody's shooting gunfire at me, only fists. Psh, that ain't nothing. Like, and I'd say that's kind of the toughness Benoit Saint Denis walks around with. And so this is one of those fights, I think, that's like, hey, Dustin, prove it or not, man, where you got an upcoming guy, just look at the rankings. Number 12 taking on number 3. Not often do we see that much of a discrepancy in the rankings in a matchup. And so obviously the UFC does believe in Benoit Saint Denis. And so I gotta go with Benoit. As much as it pains me to say, as a Diamond fan, I gotta go with Benoit because I think Dustin is a little bit past his prime, and we've seen like his better days.
Yeah, no, I have to agree, bro. I don't think Dustin Poirier has gotten that much better over the past few years. I think he's kind of relatively stayed the same. And you got a young gun, bro, that's hungry. This dude doesn't have the bank account that Dustin has. He doesn't have the recognition that Dustin has. Like Dustin used to be this guy 5, 6, 7 years ago, but he's not that guy anymore. He's in his mid-30s now, and he's on the tail end of his career. Still an amazing fighter, but I think the stars are aligned for him to start losing fights and giving up his top 5 ranking to these newer cats. So I'm leaning towards Saint Denis, but honestly, I just want it to be competitive. Dustin's a dog, though. It's only a 3-round fight, I believe. So, actually, or maybe it might be a 5-round. I'm not actually sure about that. But regardless, Dustin, he's still a dog, so he can definitely pull it out. But we'll see. And next fight, bro. This is just a super fun matchup. You got Kevin Holland, bro, against Michael Venom Page, MVP, making his UFC debut. My only pushback on this fight is that, like a lot of the fighters we've been talking about, Michael Venom Page, an amazing fighter, but he's up there in age too, bro. That's the only thing. I wish this fight happened like 3 years ago.
Yeah. At least 2. I'd say 2 years ago when Kevin Holland was kind of on that crazy, I'm fighting 5, 6, 8, 9, 10 times, 13 times in a year, running down guys in alleys, like, call big mouth type moments. But, unfortunately, well, I'm not going to say unfortunately because I am happy this matchup and we are getting it. But you're exactly right. We kind of wish we got this a few years ago. But as we know, MVP, this was just a fun signing, I think, for the UFC. He's not looking to come in and win a title. He's looking to come in. He's a prize fighter. He wants to put on great fights. Neither guy's looking, to wrestle and sniff either guy's crotch. They're looking to throw hands, throw kicks, throw spinning hook kicks, and show whose karate versus kung fu style is better.
Yeah, and you're 100% right. I think he's another, obviously, ex-Bellator fighter. He's another Michael Chandler who just has a big name in another promotion. Very, very fun fighter. UFC's like, hey, man, if he's a free agent, might as well pick him up and throw a couple fun fights on with him while we can. So fun matchup. I'm leaning towards Kevin Holland. I want MVP to win because I would love to see him in the top 15, if not top 10, just to make things interesting moving forward. But I just feel like Kevin Holland's been in the UFC for so long now, and I think he really, really is trying to get a win and start making a case for his run again. So I'm leaning towards Kevin Holland.
I gotta agree, man. I gotta go Kevin Holland, man. I'm a big mouth fan. And not just the show. And I think, too, he's got a little something to prove, man. He's coming off. Was it the Wonder Boy was his last fight? Or who was his last fight?
I want to say it was Wonder Boy. I could look it up, but I believe it was Wonder Boy.
It might have been Wonder Boy, but, he's a little bit younger. I think he's actually a little bit quicker and potentially even, maybe not longer, but fights longer. I definitely fights longer than I'd say Michael Venom Page, where at least in terms of the boxing. And so this is going to be a fun one, but I got to go Kevin Holland because he's got that power. He's got a little more pop to his shots. And on top of it as well, I think his overall MMA game is better than MVP's. MVP, great striker. We did see someone, grappling, some takedown defense versus Paul Daly, but I got to go with Kevin Holland on this one, man.
Man, we were way off. I just pulled up his Tapology, and he fought Wonder Boy in 2022, bro.
Dang.
And his after Wonder Boy, he won against Santiago Ponzinibbio,
Ponzinibbio, he did knock him out. Never mind. You are right. He was setting
and
him
then
up
he fought.
with the left hand over and over again. And then when he finally curled
Yep.
his fist up, he knocked him out cold. You are correct.
Then he won Darce choke in the first round against Michael Chiesa. And then he lost his most recent fight, which was September 16th, 2023. He lost against Jack Della JDM.
JDM.
Yeah.
You
Split
were right.
decision loss.
We were way off on that.
Way off, bro.
Ma.
I don't know. Maybe because in our hearts that Stephen Thompson fight was so like memorable. We're just like, man, like that's what we remember, just that fight.
That
But
fight was wild, man. That's a hell of a fight to break your left hand in.
for real. For real. But yeah, let's continue to move down this card. I just want to go over the last two fights. I believe these are the last two fights in the main card.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we have, speaking of JDM, we got him right here, ranked number 11, going against Gilbert Burns. And the odds, according to the UFC.com site, is right down the middle. So it's a pick'em fight, man. I got to be honest. I don't see how JDM is going to get past Gilbert Burns, bro. Like,
Really?
to me, Gilbert Burns, and I'm not saying JDM isn't good, bro, and he's not an amazing fighter, but I just feel like Gilbert Burns is so underrated. And if you look at all of the fights he's lost to, the people he's lost to, they're all either champions, ex-champions. Like, man, like this guy only loses to the best, bro. So, and I feel like Gilbert Burns, he's hungry again, bro. And I really, really feel that he's gonna get back on the winning track, and he's gonna try to make his maybe final push to getting a title crack.
Man, I'm actually on the opposite end here, man. I see JDM winning this one. You know,
Okay.
we know the toughness of Gilbert Burns, man. Like, go back and watch that Hamzat Chimaev fight, man. You'll see, like, Gilbert is no slouch at all. You know what's crazy to me about that fight, but also why this one's such a big question mark, and I gotta go JDM, is Gilbert actually injured his neck in that fight. I believe he had, I want to say, some sort of fracture or, just kind of like trauma sprain to his neck, and fought all of the rest of the rounds from the first round, injuring his neck. And so, and like I said, Gilbert's been in a couple wars. Gilbert has not been in some easy fights, man. He's taken some damage. As a guy who's dealt with a few neck injuries himself, man, it's no easy task to come back from. And so that's going to be a big question mark for me. He does have strong boxing, but when you are facing a guy and you have more of that K1 kind of kickboxing style, and you're taking on a powerful guy who has, really, really good MMA boxing fundamentals, I think it just plays out for a fun fight. But I think Jack Della Maddalena is going to be the one to pull this out. I really, really do. If Gilbert tries to go back and forth with him and he gets caught by the wrong shot, it could be lights out, man. It could be easily lights out. So we got to remain to see how that neck is feeling, how he's recovered since a few of those injuries and some of the muscle tears he had from the Hamzat Chimaev fight. Do I think he's going to get steamrolled by JDM? No, I don't think so. I think it's going to be a very tough fight for JDM. And it's going to be it's a really great kind of, I'd say, test for JDM to see, does he really belong in that top 5? I think he does, but we're going to have to see.
Yeah, I mean, I just hope it's a great fight. We'll see. JDM has not lost since his first 2 fights. He lost his first 2 fights as a pro, and then just went on a tear. Literally has been, what's his record? 16-2. So he's been 16-0 after those 2 fights. My only pushback is he won a split decision against Kevin Holland his last fight, and it's like I love Kevin Holland, but I don't think Kevin Holland is a top 5 fighter.
Mhm.
And you got somebody like Gilbert Burns who he doesn't lose to just anyone. You know what I mean? Like he lost to Hamzat Chimaev, which a lot of people think he won that fight. Um, he won against Neil Magny, beat Jorge Masvidal, lost against his last fight was against Bilal Muhammad, but he tore his, I believe he dislocated his shoulder or something happened where he was fighting with one arm essentially. So like I don't know, man. I really feel that Gilbert Burns is just a top 5 fighter. The only thing that is definitely having me hesitant though is their age difference. Gilbert Burns is 37 and you got JDM 27. 10-year gap, bro. When there's a gap like that, typically it goes to the younger fighter. So that could maybe be something to consider if you're making any bets on these fights.
And he's
But
physically bigger.
yeah, he just has less miles for sure.
Hmm.
And last fight of the main card, bro, we got Peter Yan versus Song Yadong. Oh man, I'm gonna let you start off. What are you thinking, bro?
I gotta go Peter Yan on this one, man. I really do. I know Song, he's been on a tear. He's looked great. He's definitely improved since that very controversial loss with Chito Vera. I think that was really, really like you see guys with certain, whether it's like a controversial win or a tough loss, or a really close fight, like where it kind of pushes them into that next level. And I feel like that's what happened with Song Yadong. Like he was doing really good, but then he kind of had that tough win with Cheeto that, again, very controversial. And then he just went on from there. But we also seen him struggle with some of the top talent, man. He did get finished by Corey Sandhagen. And, Peter, who's, he's a former champion. He's fought some of the best, in the division, as well as, gone back and forth with Marab, fought Henry Cejudo, as well as got to fight, Aljamain twice, and, fought the champion himself. Like he's fought everybody. And so I got to go with Peter Yan on this one, man. I really think Peter Yan is going to come back really strong in this fight, really put that pressure on Song and really get him in those uncomfortable spots that he doesn't want to be in, and just really exemplify, the strength of his game, which is, his kickboxing and his Muay Thai. I think, and plus too, I think those kicks are going to be a big problem for Song to deal with. Peter Yan does have a really great kick game. You really got to give him credit for that. Where he's able to level change and kind of mix it up. He's able to throw guys, hit guys with trips and sweeps that are very, very tricky, especially within MMA. You don't see a lot of really great sweeps the way Peter Yan does it. And so I got to go with my guy here.
Yeah, man, like on paper, you're 100% correct. Like there's no question you should pick Peter Yan. My only pushback is because he's been on a losing streak, I'm kind of concerned where his head may be at. That could be a good thing. Maybe light some more fire and get that hunger back. Really want to get the win. Or it could be like he could be fighting not to lose, and that's not what he needs to do in this fight. He needs to fight to win. He needs to go out there, prove he's still a top 5 fighter, and work his way back to a championship title run because he's not young, but he's not old. He's 31 years old, so he's still right at his prime. And then you got Song Yadong, man, 26 years old, young guy in the game. I think he's in a really good spot because if he loses to Peter Yan, I mean, that's not a bad guy to lose to. You know what I'm saying? And you're only 26 years old. You still got a lot of years left to continue to improve your game. So I think this is going to be one of those fights that's going to be really telling, and it's going to be one of those fights that can potentially be a pivotal moment in one of these fighters' careers. So I'm excited to see this fight. Um, I think I'm also gonna lean towards Peter Yan just because he has the veteran experience. He's fought champions, ex champions, things like that. So I'm going Peter Yan, but man, who knows? Maybe Song Dong might have his Ilia Topuria moment and just be that young guy.
He definitely might.
All right, man. So let me clear this up. So earlier we were talking about our guy Blake DeCourcy, and you were 100% right. I don't know if you said this on the podcast or before, but he actually has already fought. He was in the prelims, and when I put on A1 Combat on Fight Pass, I was actually watching the main card, and I got confused. So anyways, the prelims are on YouTube. So what I want to do right now, before we end the pod, is I want to play the fight on YouTube, and we'll just react to it as if we were watching it live, essentially. And yeah, man, we'll kind of go from there. How's that sound?
That sounds great to me, sir.
All right, so let me switch this up.
The Livermore roster.
Potentially, yeah, a bit of a jump. But I do want to mention Mike Hernandez. When you look at Brandon Olson's record and career, 5 finishes and 5
Here we got Ben Davis, and we got our guy, MLH Media, Michael Hernandez.
Title shot.
Yeah, most definitely. And especially with him having 2 wins over here for the promotion now. As we stated, 2 wins over here at
Man, I'm really excited, bro. I'm really excited to see Michael just do his thing. For people that don't know, this dude's only, I think he's 21 or 22. This dude is young, bro. And he's out here just putting in that work, dude.
Therefore, we set up this interim bout, and maybe Brandon Olson gets the next guy in. Let's take it to veteran voice of A1 Combat, Eric Bertig, to welcome our next prelim of the night.
Ready now to make his professional debut, Blake DeCourcy.
Hey.
All right, let's see what the walkouts look like.
An unblemished amateur record decorated with championship victories has ignited a mass interest in the pro debut of one Blake DeCourcy. Can he continue this perfection?
All right, Adam, you're looking at the walkout. What are you thinking?
Man,
how does he look?
Looking calm, cool, collected. That's what I love to see. You know, he's got Coach Tyler Wombles in his corner. I forgot the name of his other coach, but from the Den. And so, man, I'm liking what I see. I like the confidence I'm seeing. You know, he's feeling ready to go. Oh, there it is.
Oh, yeah. You got to love that.
Badger slap.
The Badger slap.
Man, it's iconic. It's iconic.
Definitely iconic.
4 finishes in 7 victories, a 3-time 559 fights lightweight champion.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. Every time I see Tyler Wombles with his cowboy hat, I'm like, he's one of those guys like you never not want to see him with a cowboy hat. Like it just fits him so perfectly.
His personality too. It fits perfectly. I've yet to be able to talk to the man himself. Every time I've always seen him, he's like I always get intimidated a little bit. He seems like just such a serious guy, you know.
You know, and it's funny because he is a serious guy, but he's one of the most laid back dudes. When you strike up a conversation with him, he's a really, really good dude.
I'd love to have a conversation with him one day.
So we got Martin coming out, who's lost to Blake in the past about 2 years ago. Let's see what his walkout looks like. Let's see, does he look confident? Does he feel like the moment's getting to him? This is also his pro debut.
Yep.
But in order for it to be successful, he will have to avenge the only loss of his MMA career. May of
Oh, apparently
2022.
only loss.
Short on the scorecards to Blake DeCourcy.
True.
Now, on the biggest
And that could play into his favor a little bit, man. You know, he can come in with a little more motivation, a little more, you know, just kind of want, a little more edge. But that could also play against him as well if he gets too eager and he gets caught with a bad shot.
His brother fighting on March 1st on that same card, 559 fights.
So Blake in the podcast, I asked him, okay, how what do you think this fight's gonna look like? He said he thinks that Martin is just gonna come, try to get the fight to the ground, but he's just gonna keep his range and just piece him up on the feet. Is basically what he says. So yeah, I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see what happens.
That was the exact game plan I predicted. So we're gonna see if he can stick to it.
Now fast forward to February 2024. What will it be? Sandoval DeCourcy 2. Who's got it?
3 finishes in 4 victories. He has never been finished. We take it to a tale of the tape.
Ooh, 29-20. Okay.
I did not realize the age discrepancy here.
I knew Martin was older, but I didn't know he was 29. I thought he was more like in his mid-20s.
Yeah, right. He looks like he's about like 26.
Presented by Kudos Next. Set now for 3 5-minute rounds in the featherweight division. We introduce first the United States Air Force blue corner.
Oh, this fight is being fought at featherweight as well. That's interesting.
Yeah, so I think they fought at 155, I believe.
Yeah.
But they're making their pro debuts as featherweights.
That's interesting. It might play into it just a little bit. I still think it's a good weight class, especially for Blake and his build. He's a very lean guy, as we can see.
Yes.
You know, that might make a little bit of a difference for the matchup.
Definitely has a Max Holloway type build, but his arms are significantly longer though than a Max Holloway.
I'm about to say he ain't no T-Rex arms, man. Come on.
Yeah, no.
Professional debut representing Matt Mechanics from Porterville, California, Martin Stoogie Sandoval. Your referee, Edward Calantes.
Edward Calantes, Birdman inside between Sandoval.
Pro debuts, here we go.
The rematch, the lone loss of Martin's amateur career. Like you mentioned, Mike Hernandez, we'll see if history repeats.
Yes, very excited to see these 2 gentlemen go underway.
Oh, no time wasted. Corsi and Sandoval right in the center. Blake the Snake taken.
Okay, we got Blake pressuring.
Let's say good ranging with the jab.
Trying to keep it inside. He's been working on his boxing a lot in this training camp as well.
We got Blake cutting off the cage.
Yeah, Martin in the last fight was the aggressor. Blake is definitely putting on the pressure this fight.
Oh, and a leg kick there.
Okay, a little bit of loss of balance.
Man, Martin has shown in his leg kicks. And he got a leg kick.
Surprised Martin didn't try to pressure him once he saw him on the ground.
Ooh, good catch by Blake.
Looks like Martin's a little hesitant. I think he's still trying to find his range. Nice.
Done leg kicks.
Just about to say, it looks like he's taxing up on those leg kicks, man. Martin's got to start checking a couple of those
okay, good catch. Single leg.
And it looks like he's locking up
Oh.
that guillotine in that fight.
Oh, okay.
No, that is tight.
Good scramble for Martin.
Trying to be careful here. DeCourcy could be locking it up, elevating.
First minute,
Like
we about to see.
Over and, oh man, he may have this locked in, especially if he's able.
Oh, it's close.
Oh, yeah.
It's close. It might be locked in.
Full guard for DeCourcy. Pro debut on both sides.
No, I don't think he has it. No, he doesn't have it. Oh, but good scramble. Good scramble.
Really good scramble.
Great defense from Sandoval. Now unloaded with the head kicks.
Oh, that was a great scramble by both guys.
But if Martin does keep trying to
Oh, that right hand.
Sandoval looks like he's wearing it well.
Yeah. No, if Martin keeps trying to scramble like that, that's going to be tough to keep up all 3 rounds.
Well in this first round around the cage.
DeCourcy making the ring smaller than it is.
Oh, nice.
Right hook.
Nice.
With that right straight followed by that, it looked like a jab.
And just letting DeCourcy wind up these shots and get free ones. He is definitely
Dang, Martin looks a little tired.
Might be a little bit of an adrenaline dump, a little bit of
Yeah, I was about to
aggressive.
say.
Oh, there he goes again. Back down to the well of those leg kicks.
Jumping knee to the body.
Yes, it seems that he's really worried about that top game, trying to avoid those.
Oh, good elbow by Blake.
Blake obviously has that size advantage.
Very sneaky elbow.
It just seems that
Yeah, Blake looks like the fresher fighter for sure.
defending those leg kicks, and those may start to
I
add up.
think those leg kicks made a big difference on Martin. You know, you can see him; he's kind of moving a little bit tentative.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
I think you're right. He's very heavy on the front foot too.
Oh, there it is again, though.
Yep. Very.
Balance block.
He's switching now.
Stance switch forced. Sandoval's lead leg is butchered here late in round number 1.
Sandoval's saying a little too bladed, I think.
Yes, Blake DeCourcy, he oftentimes chooses
Oh!
a nice leg kick there, and Sandoval grabs a hold immediately. He knew he was in some trouble there with that high head kick.
Titanium chin though on Sandoval to eat that and continue pressure forward. Now on the back.
Yo, our guy Michael. Oh, nice knee on the way out. Our guy Michael with the play-by-play, bro.
On the back foot.
You know, I asked Martin Sandoval if he watched the tape of their first fight in this fight camp. He said no.
Yeah, he looks a little gassed.
Good 1-2 there from him.
Oh, nice right hand.
Lifting his head a little bit. Yep. And here, Blake's taking advantage of it.
He definitely has a reach advantage. You got to take advantage of it. Staying on the outside. Nice underhooks.
Maybe if Martin didn't watch that fight, he didn't see that transition, but he can also understand.
Okay, Blake with his own takedown.
Good reversal. Interesting position.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he definitely looks gassed.
I think all of this, those level changes. Like
oh, another head kick.
Clean.
He looks like it could be a little bit wounded there. Blake DeCourcy now trying to uncork.
Martin Sandoval's definitely hurt a little bit.
Yeah, and he's tired. That's not good. Hurt and tired, not a good combo.
He still got some pop to his shots, but
all those years ago, Porterville breeds tough people. Martin Sandoval showing a little bit of that tonight.
Final frames of round number 1. DeCourcy now on the back, raining some ground and pound to close out what was a pretty decisive first round.
Yeah. I gotta give that to Blake. That was a pretty dominant round. There was a couple moments where Blake got a couple shots, got caught a couple times, and obviously got taken down, but overall, man, Blake is looking sharp.
I got to give it 10-9 DeCourcy. You could even make the argument for a 10-8, especially here with the guillotine attempt. It was close. That was super, super tight. You could tell that kind of took a little bit of the wind out of Martin. Even though it didn't, it's still that those exchanges and those scrambles, they're really hard to maintain, especially when you go from 2-minute rounds to 5-minute rounds.
Oh yeah, and that's another thing now. Not a lot of these fighters, I guess, take into consideration is you're going from 2 minutes to 5 minutes. It's almost 3 times the fight length.
Hey, we got Blake smiling into the second round too, man.
Round 2 of both gentlemen's debuts.
I wonder if they do post fights for the prelims.
Sandoval. The big questions linger around his lead leg. Martin taking the center here.
It seems even the back end leg.
Martin looks a little flat-footed.
He's standing a little too, man. I think those leg kicks were making a difference.
I was literally just about to say that. I think, yeah, you could tell. The leg kicks have been a big weapon in this fight.
Yep, and we've seen the stance by Sandoval.
Man, Blake is looking sharp.
Inside the pocket though, Sandoval still throwing some hammers.
Yes, no, Sandoval is no slouch in the pocket, has that boxing background.
Oh!
And wow, it just seems DeCourcy's
Are we going to see a leg kick, TKO?
I don't know. I think we might, bro. Look at this.
Martin ain't getting up.
And he said Sandoval. He asked the
Let's
rest
see.
to get him back up, man.
Oh, yeah. No, that leg's hurting. He was pushing off it as he stood up.
It's a
There it is.
firing range. Martin Sandoval somehow staying in it, but Blake DeCourcy on the verge of
Yeah, I think
round TKO in his pro debut.
Yeah.
Oh!
Another leg kick there, and
Another brutal leg kick.
Here. Blake.
There it is.
you're right. Blake the Snake with the leg kick TKO, bro.
That very, very impressive debut, I gotta say.
Starting to add up, and he just seemed to have Sandoval's number here tonight a bit.
The 3-time 559 fights lightweight.
I gotta agree with our guy Michael, man. He had his number. I gotta agree.
He stays perfect.
Yeah, he looked sharp, bro. Super sharp.
And man, did he look good.
Looking like a snake for sure. Okay, I gotta see if they do a post fight. Cause let me fast forward this a little bit.
Still looking pretty optimistic.
You gotta see our guy.
Good to draw away from that performance. Those like now the U.S. seeing his match of the A1.
1 minute, 14 seconds. Blake.
It's official. A victory in his pro debut. Earned victory. Michael Hernandez.
Let's go. Let's go.
Shout out to Jeff Craig, man.
Let me turn this up.
To get that victory here in the second round, can you walk us through the game plan for that one? It just seemed right off the bat you wanted to get him against the cage.
Yeah, man. So we knew that he was going to be a heavy wrestler. So a lot of this fight camp was making sure that my wrestling defense was good enough. I'm working a lot on my boxing. You know, maybe they didn't showcase it as much as I did. I'm still working on figuring out these long arms, figuring out the range. But it was that, and then calf kicks, man. Calf kicks worked. Kept landing, so I just kept going for it.
Speaking about those long arms and that snake nickname, you almost lived up to it there in the first round, almost locking up a guillotine. That was very similar to your last defense. Can you walk us through that sequence in that first round and what you were thinking in there?
Yeah, so when I initially got the guillotine, I was like, ooh, I can maybe get it. But then also I've been working on finding those little moments in between certain spots in the round where I can just take a breath, get back, and then figure out my escape to stay calm, cool, collected.
A fight fan favorite over here in the time in the Central Valley. You have had a lot of your fights over at the 559 fights in the Visalia Convention Center. When can the fight fans expect to see you next in this cage?
Man, anytime I'm trying to get back and cracking, you know, I'm going to get it, you know, get back in the cage, get back in the gym, start working. Hey, RIP to my boy Mike, Tiny BB. You know, my boy just died a couple months ago, so this fight is dedicated to him. Shout out to all my family that came out. I appreciate you guys. Everybody that's watching, everybody at my job at Jersey Mike's, baby.
Hey, Jersey Mike's.
You feel me? Come on now. It's Blake the Snake up here, baby.
Hey, Jersey Mike's, a sub above, and now
sub above.
I love how Mike knew that. I love how he knew that.
Everybody.
Blake the Snake serving the subs at Jersey Mike's and clocking in TK.
Oh, dead, bro. I love it. I love it.
A sub above, man. A sub above.
Oh, man. That was great, man. That was great. Well,
very impressive.
I think that's a good way to end off the pod, bro. We got it. We talked about, caught up on what we did this past weekend, talked a little bit about the fights that are going to go on in the near future. We got to do some our own little version of a fight companion with Blake the Snake DeCourcy with that leg kick TKO. I mean, what else can we say? Adam, I'm going to let you just you got any comments and the last things you just want to say to the people out here?
All I got to say, first off, very impressive performance by Blake DeCourcy, man. You know, it's not easy to come out and get a leg kick TKO and really just kind of showcase really great level changes and really great skills. So shout out to him. Shout out to our guy, MLH Media, Michael, Luis Hernandez, man, out here, hardest worker, you know, within the fight game, out here doing post-fight interviews, commentary. You know, check out our guy's channel and all his interviews, man, as well as my own venture and channel that I got to shout out, A Day in the Fight Life. Like I said, your boy's feeling good, so we got an episode coming out for you guys soon, potentially with a guy, you know, who likes to fight and also play some football. You know, maybe a fighting footballer potentially. I'll leave that as a little hint for you guys. Follow me on all my socials, adam.araby on everything, as well as follow my cameraman, im.dpg. Hire him for all your DP needs. GAMAL Darwish, and you can find him at Instagram. And that's pretty much it, man.
Yeah, bro. I gotta just echo what you just said. Blake look amazing. So happy to have had him on the pod last week, and yeah, I'm excited. We talked about getting him on the pod again. Hopefully, Mike and you, Adam, and Gamal, and everybody else can be there for that one. But yeah, man, I'm excited, bro. This has been another episode of the Fight Fan Culture Podcast. Please like, subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff. If you got any questions or anything, go ahead and comment it down below. UFC 299 coming up. UFC 300. We might be coming to you. We'll talk about that in the next pod. But all right, guys, we're out. Take it easy.